Alright lads and ladies, and welcome to Big Dave's Big Review with your mate, Big Dave. In this video, I thought we'd take a look at what has to be the dumbest scene in Series 1 of House of the Dragon, accurately summed up by this little clip.
How the dumbest scene in House of the Dragon Season 1 happened. Right, I'm off. Where to, Grandpops? To Dragonstone to present your terms to Rhaenyra and Daemon. Aren't you worried they will kill you or at least take you prisoner? No, why? Well, you know, the whole throne-taking thing we literally just did, like the day after her dad died. Nah, it'll be fine. You worry too much, love. Didn't Daemon just lob that bloke's head off for saying some treasonous stuff? Yeah, that was mental. Still got some blood on my favourite robe. What about it? Well, is it what we're doing? Like 1,000 times worse in their eyes? Nah, Daemon's a sweetheart. Very misunderstood, really. How many soldiers and dragons are you taking with you? 15 soldiers should do it. I'm not taking any more than that. They get double pay for business trips, the greedy bastards, and no dragons. You know I can't stand those muppets. Have a good trip, Dad. Oh, and take this page from a book for protection. Good idea, sweetheart. Now I only need 10 soldiers. Lovely. Don't forget to take your hand to the kingpin, though. Good idea. All official looking in that. Those two will love it. Right, better shoot. So Dave, get my boat ready. By the 7, I love a business trip.
I'm of course talking about Otto Hightower's little business trip to Dragonstone to present Rhaenyra and Daemon with an offer of peace from Aegon and Alicent. In this video, I'm going to list why I think this little event is so bollock-numbingly stupid, why the writers did it, as well as show you some arguments made by other channels to try and justify it, and why they're wrong obviously. So stick around for plenty of laughs and a large dollop of Big Dave analysis. Now enjoy the theme tune. Right, so let's make sure everyone understands the background. In episode 8 of House of the Dragon, poor old King Viserys does his best to ensure that his family won't descend into civil war after his death, which, let's be honest, is likely to be pretty bloody soon given the state of Emir. And it appears to have worked, as his wife, Queen Alicent, openly proclaims her support for Rhaenyra to inherit the throne exactly as he intended. So all's well that ends well, except that on his deathbed, Viserys proclaims to Alicent that Aegon must be king. Now, we all know that Viserys is totally out of it at this point, and he thinks he's talking to his daughter Rhaenyra about the fire and ice prophecy. So standard TV cross-wired stuff, and quite frankly, not the best writing. Either way, it results in Alicent thinking the king's dying wish was for her utter weapon of a son, Aegon, to inherit the throne. Oh dear, oh dear. So as soon as poor Viserys pops his clogs, the Greens swing into action and declare Aegon as king in front of a large audience of us common folk in the Dragon Pit. Now Otto and most of the small council want to whip out the fighting cutlery and go full East London on Team Black, attacking them in their home of Dragonstone, ideally before they're even aware of what's going on. It's Alicent who demands that they try a peaceful approach. So far, so logical. So who did the Green team send over to Dragonstone? Well, it's none other than Otto Hightower. Now, unless you're a lemon, you'll know that this makes about as much sense as a shit-faced Scotsman. Otto is arguably the second most important member of the Greens, what with him being the hand of the king and the king's granddad. You don't just hand over someone that important to your enemies. But let's look at what makes this move even worse. First, and most bleeding obviously, the Greens have just betrayed Rhaenyra and her family by stealing her father's throne, which he clearly intended for her to inherit. She made it pretty clear all season how much she wanted to be queen. It was basically her driving motivation the entire show. To make matters worse, there's pretty boy Daemon. Did the Greens really think he'll let Otto walk in, present terms, then stroll out without at least a little bit of head choppy action? I mean, they saw what he did to Vaemond Velaryon for merely speaking treason, and no doubt to Daemon, what the Greens have just done is a million times worse than that. And the cherry on top is that old Otto wore the hand of the kingpin, just to rub Rhaenyra and Daemon's faces in it. This sort of decision making by otherwise smart characters reminds me of the last season of Game of Thrones, when Varys and Littlefinger seemed to drop 100 IQ points in the space of about 30 seconds. I guess that's the other reason I'm banging on about this. Otto is clearly a smart character. Let's not let him go the way of those other two belts, hey writers? So now I hear you all cry, but Big Dave, House of the Dragon is based on the Fire and Blood book. Yeah, that is true, but in the books this scene goes down a little differently. You see, the Greens in the book actually activate their brains for a couple of minutes and send Grandmaster Orwell, probably pronouncing that wrong, to present the terms for them. Now that's a decision even I can understand. The Meisters have an air of neutrality about them, He's got no hostage value, and killing him would alienate the powerful Old Town faction. Rhaenyra does nick his chains, but let's be honest, anyone wearing that much bling in someone else's manor deserves to get jacked. So your mate Big Dave is nothing if not fair. Let's take a look at some of the justifications for Otto being the one sent to treat with Rhaenyra, and we can all have a good laugh at them. So first up, there's another difference between the book and the TV. In the book, Rhaenyra has already declared herself queen, and the Greens are aware of this before sending Orwell. In the show, her intentions are unknown to the Greens, so maybe she'd be willing to give up her ambitions to be queen for the sake of peace. Not bloody likely, I know, but still. Secondly, there's the page from the book Alicent gives Otto to give to Rhaenyra. Now these actor plums shown here waffled on about this. They said, Alicent giving Rhaenyra the page in House of the Dragon season 1 finale means she's kept it for over 20 years, proving Alicent's affection for Rhaenyra has never really died. By giving Rhaenyra the page, Alicent is using the love they shared for one another as a plea for peace, suggesting Alicent truly wants to give Rhaenyra the best of terms, aside from the Iron Throne of course. The page also symbolises that Alicent didn't crown Aegon out of revenge or malice against Rhaenyra, so she doesn't wish for any harm to come to her or her family. So that's all well and good, but that last line, didn't wish for any harm to come to her or her family. Now is it me, or didn't she just stab up Rhaenyra like a couple of episodes ago whilst trying to cut out the eye of her son Luke? Yeah, that's right, she did. So sorry, Screen Rant, but you need to give your researcher a dry slap, Muppet. So no, I don't think the page from the old history book holds any kind of protection. Certainly not enough to stop Daemon pulling out his Valyrian steel chopper and giving Otto a very aggressive haircut. So lastly, let's talk about banners of truce, or messengers. So you could argue that since Otto is under a banner of truce, acting as a messenger for Aegon, that he has certain protections. Well yeah, that's true, but also complete bollocks, since we've seen Daemon beat one of Viserys' messengers, right before raising his own white flag to the Crab King, who he then proceeded to turn into sushi. So again, nah, that don't work. So let me just say that this was the only scene in the whole of Series 1 where I said to Mrs. Big Dave, this is beyond stupid, love. This just would never happen. I think she told me to shut my stupid face, or something similar to that. God, I love that woman. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that this scene aside, the first series was cracking. Yes, I had some issues with episode 9 and 10, which can be found in my previous videos on the subject. Go take a look, although the episode 9 review was my first ever video and just a little bit ropey. I went into House of the Dragon with She-Hulk levels of expectation, so to say I was pleasantly surprised with how the show turned out is a bit of an understatement. Even my apprentice, Little Chris, loved the show, despite, in his words, a disgusting lack of nudity. And whilst he's right, he's also a little perv, so generally I ignore whatever he says. So then, that's my thoughts on why Otto's trip to Dragonstone is the dumbest scene in House of the Dragon Season 1. Now, a few other contenders do spring to mind. Firstly, Alicent's misunderstanding King Viserys on his deathbed to trigger the whole civil war really got my goat. If they wanted to deviate from the books here, why not try something a bit more interesting, like more conflict between their kids, or just Alicent being epically two-faced? 1 second telling Rhaenyra she's going to be a fantastic queen, the next declaring Aegon king. Yeah, that would make her a little bit Cersei, but I fucking love Cersei, so there. The other one that springs to mind was Lord Larys Strong, popping down to the dungeon of the Red Keep to hire a squad of men on death row, then cutting out their tongues so they couldn't grass him up. I mean, surely they can still point him out as the one that ordered them to murder his family. Who knows, maybe one of them could even write. Lastly, Daemon 1v50 in the Crab King's bed, who he kindly sent one at a time. I mean, you get the picture. Right, that's enough of this bollocks. Time for me to get back to work. I'll be continuing to review TV, movies, and maybe even games for you lovely lot. Well, at least if Mrs. Big Dave lets me, that is. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me review next. Just nothing too artsy or foreign language, alright? Not really Big Dave's thing, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure it's a bit bloody obvious to you lot, but we're a brand new channel, so please bear with Big Dave as he gets the hang of this video production lark. I thought I was bad at plumbing, but somehow I found something I'm even worse at. Still, I'll get there eventually. Bloody hell, you've made it to the end of the show. Well done you. Now, if you could be a diamond and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that will make sure we can keep in touch in future. Please also drop a like on the video and maybe even comment below. A bit of banter is always welcome. I'd like to wish you all the best. Until next time.